Moist. And we are here, live, coming to you live on Wednesday. We've already had a moisten from Sizan. During the pre-show, I did moisten up. I'll do it again just to prove it. Moist. Awkwardly lean into my lapel mic. So yeah, the whole week is going to be kind of a let's do times when I don't normally do this. That's the plan. That's the plan. Today I'm having over some guests, and I'll be cooking for them, and they should be arriving during the stream, potentially toward the end, and it's going to be completely up to them to introduce themselves if they want to. I'm not going to pressure anyone to come out, but that means I've got sort of a time to shoot for, because I've told them when I plan on having it on the table. So we're shooting for this being served at about 6:30. We've got about an hour and a half to work on it. So I can't, it doesn't take super long, so this shouldn't be a challenge, but I can't waffle around too much. And we're making Mapo Tofu, which I believe I've made once before, ages ago. It's going to be a little bit different because I have more accurate ingredients and some better ingredients. I'll start getting stuff out. I think today last time we made rice, I just did it on the stovetop. Today I think we're going to actually try that 3-minute rice in the magic pot. because that could be amazing. So obviously for Mapo Tofu, you need to move the board here. Tofu. Interestingly enough, it is not a vegetarian dish because you need pork. I got this from the farmer's market actually, a local butcher at the farmer's market. Good quality stuff. At least I hope it's good quality stuff. I haven't opened it yet. They had just perfect little small amount. This is the thing that I didn't have last time I tried this for sure. It's in fact Mapo sauce. It's fava bean chili paste, fermented fava bean. Well, this one's soybean and fava bean. It's spicy bean paste. It's Chinese spicy bean paste with the brand label right on the top there. And I couldn't find the non-spicy version of this. So I picked up a similar thing. It's not even the recommended stand-in, but I couldn't find that. So this is just a fermented soybean paste, but it is not miso. It is a, I think it's Chinese. This is actually a product of Korea. So this one is Korean. I believe what that specifically is gochujang. If you're really familiar with gochujang, it comes in an almost identical little tub. This is essentially gochujang without the peppers. Although gochujang has rice in it as well. This does not have rice in it. So that's the plan for the stand-in. It's I've tasted it. It doesn't taste exactly on point. If you can't find this stuff, my own experience finding this stuff is a little bit tricky. I had to go to a special store for it. Gochujang, which is now pretty much commonly available at most regular grocery stores, is a perfect stand-in for it because it is a fermented, spicy, savory paste. I've lost my head a little bit. Peppers. I've got peppers. 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 So we're going to use all of these peppers. We're not going to use all of these peppers. It's too many peppers. We are going to use a bunch of these peppers, though. We're also going to use some of these peppers. Different kinds of peppers. Multiple different kinds of peppers. This is a very peppery thing. And therein lies the special request, because I'm supposed to make one that is not blow your head off spicy as well. And that's going to be the tricky bit. Because this is also pepper. These are Szechuan peppercorns that give you that electric tingling sensation, which is hard to replicate. We don't need all these peppers right here. They're going to live off camera left. They are recently acquired from the farmer's market and have had their stems trimmed and are awaiting drying. But while they're fresh, we're going to do something that requires fresh. What else? I've got recipes up. We need some green onion. I won't pull that out quite yet. We need some chicken broth, which I've got. We need some chicken broth. We need garlic and ginger. Garlic and that same little knob of ginger from Monday, which we will use up potentially more. I have more ginger. I don't need this little guy to stretch out for the whole thing. I've also picked up some garlic infused oil. Soy sauce, a dry rice wine, and I do have that. We're not using Shaoxing wine because I don't know where to get it. But I've got some sake, which is going to be pretty close. Close enough for government work, as my father would say. Our cooking oil of choice is, I'm not using peanut oil, I'm using my standard grapeseed oil, but I've got that on hand, it's above the stove. We've got 2 woks pulled out, so I can make this twice. We're making it twice. I'm also going to make a side dish for it, so I'm making 3 things. The side dish will be easy and fast. Oh, and of course, cornstarch to thicken. What is that? So I've got 2 reference recipes up. I've got a reference recipe up from the site that I can't read the logo of, Omnivore's Cookbook, and I've got one up from Seasoned Wok, which is a much simpler one, but it has some ideas that I think I want to combine into the main one. In that being, I'm going to throw in some oyster sauce, which isn't normally in the recipe. I should pull up more reference. Let's pull up one from The Walks of Life. A lot of these have wok puns in them. Bean paste tofu, sesame oil, optional, got that. Okay. All the bits and pieces, all the odds and ends. It's interesting that there's not a lot of vegetables going on in this thing. But there are a few that we need to prep, and that's the step 1. That's actually step 2, because for step 1, I've got to get the liquid off of this tofu. These packages are sometimes a little bit hard to open without spilling. Let me pop over to the stove, or not the stove, the sink, so I can slit the packaging and let it drain out safely so I don't make a mess. Okay. Here's our chunk of tofu. It is currently leaking tofu juice at an alarming rate. Not an alarming rate, an expected rate. We want it. It's a firm tofu. It's not an extra firm this time. It's a firm tofu. So not much should come out, but a little should come out when we press on it. And I'm going to I've done this before with extra firm and found that basically nothing came out. The firmer your tofu, the harder it is to squeeze moisture out of it because it's already been quite heavily squozen. We are getting a little bit out of it. So I am going to officially press it, which means I need So to press, I want a plate that on the bottom doesn't have a lip around the base, so it can press smoothly into the surface of the tofu. Kind of squish it in between them. Put it somewhere where it can drain without issue, such as directly into your sink. And then you put something heavy on top of it. Preferably something that won't tip over. Doesn't have to be too heavy, but it has to be heavy enough that it gives it a good squeezing. What do I have that's heavy and won't fall over? How about 4 pounds of sugar? 4 pounds of unopened sugar. Should be heavy enough. Okay, that's going to, yes, we are pressing it. So that's going to squeeze out a bit. We won't need it for a while, but that's why I had to get it out now, because we want to get the you want to get the liquid out of it before you do need it, because it takes a little bit to press. Okay. Next, the garlic and the ginger. And we're going to divide the ginger. I need my scraps bowl. I'm going to need several small bowls today. I love this purple garlic. It's so nice, and it's nice big cloves too, except for that one little guy. Our recently returned to the fold garlic peeler. Ooh, he had a rough time, but it did loosen it up. The skins are particularly hard today, and it's having a little bit of a harder time breaking them apart. It's still loosening them up, it's just not smashing them to bits like it usually does. Knife. We're going to need the small knife back, so I may as well use it to get the little nipped little ends off. But I don't want to use it to mince up the garlic because I want a large knife for this. So as always, we're prepping the garlic far enough in advance that it has a chance to develop its flavors before going on the heat. You usually only need like several minutes, not long time. But if I don't do it at the beginning, I will often find myself forgetting to do it about 10 minutes before I need it. And then it'll just get mashed directly into the thing, and we will lose some of our garlickiness by mashing it directly into heat. First of many small bowls. Okay. I know I say that. I know I talk about garlic every time. I say the same spiel every time, but it's worth repeating things that are not commonplace in the cooking lexicon. I'm going to wipe this down. I'm not going to immediately rinse everything off. So we're running the risk of this getting quite sticky, but we're going to mince up the ginger at the same time. And the ginger is a little bit harder to do with the big knife. But this is why I like having a big knife for mincing like this, because you can just kind of rock the knife, hold down the tip with your hand, and then you can just rock it along this curved part of the blade to rapidly mince through pretty much anything. And that's why that blade has that shape. It's for sort of rolling along the arc. If you were just chopping, you wouldn't need that. You could use one of these guys that has this one also has a little bit of a curve to it, but some of these are just straight. Just chop, chop, chop. Okay, the ginger we will assemble into a little pile. And then divide. Because the ginger needs to go in both versions of this, whereas the minced garlic is only going into one of them. Okay. The dry chilies. Move things aside. I'm not. Usually, I'll put two things in a bowl together, and just toss them at the same time. I want to be careful to keep everything kind of separated this time. So we don't want the green ones. We want the the red ones. So we're keeping things a little bit more separated than I usually do this time. We need quite a few hot peppers here. Get the lid back on. Because in addition to there being peppers in the thing, we're also making a pepper infused oil at the start, which I will get out a small dish for. So these just need to be kind of chopped into chunks. Do them all at once. I'm afraid of doing them all at once because bits might fly off. So we're going to go gently. Just like that. Just like those bits that flew off. And we do want to keep the seeds for this. All the seeds, all the pith. Because we want to get the extraction of the heat. So we're gonna make that's the thing. It's a spicy dish. It's meant to be a very spicy dish. It's designed to be self-balancing. The two different types of spice are supposed to, and do, if you make it correctly, balance each other out. The other type of spice is the other pepper here. Our Szechuan peppercorn. So they balance each other out, but they both do remain quite spicy. You can tolerate more than you think you should be able to. Because the numbing effect of the Szechuan peppercorn softens the blow of the hot chilies. I should get an actual measuring tool for this. Okay. So we're going to use 2 scoops of that. This is a half tablespoon measure, and that's about right, I think. This is one of those This is one of those dishes where there's a ton of variation, and you end up making it to taste as you learn it. This needs to be ground quite finely, though. So we will call in, oop, it's got a little bit of water in it from being washed. We will call into service our spice grinder. But we don't want those little drops of water. I just cleaned it, so there's a little bit of water still hanging out in it. But water inside the thing will just cause clumping, so it needs to be nice and dry. Throw those guys in. Normally the little button doesn't come off. It's not supposed to, but I broke this literally the day I brought it home. Because I'm terrible. Now, I have in the past ground stuff like this by hand, but it's so hard to get a fine grind on something like this. These are quite hard. I just noticed there's a stem in there. We're going to get that out. We don't need the little stem pieces. These are quite hard, and grinding them leaves little shards of the hulls, if you do it by hand, that I have a very difficult time getting rid of. So the device here will at least get us started. The device is also actually leaving little fragments. The button over there and unplug it. Ow! I pinched my finger in the lid. Anyways, I was tapping the. Oh, I did pinch my finger in the lid. A little blood blister. Tapping it down to get the powder out of the lid. So it's mostly powder, and it's got some of those hull fragments I was talking about. Oh, you can smell it. It's got this tang to it that is really unlike any other spice you'd encounter. Ow, that hurts. I don't believe we will need the grinder again unless I want to do more of those peppercorns for a garnish at the end. So we'll keep it handy. We won't wash it off right away, but we don't need it over here. We don't need to wash it in order to put something else in it. Dust us off a little bit. So garlic, ginger. So here, so far what we have is for one of the dishes, we have garlic, ginger, hot peppers, Szechuan peppers, Szechuan peppers. And for the other dish, we have just some ginger. We need to fix this. We need to add the things on this side that are going to make up for the things that are missing from this side. And they are mostly in the form of some fun sauces. It's the #1 seller in Korea. I want a slightly bigger bowl. I think we want the slightly bigger bowl for both of these guys. So that's our stand-in bean paste, some oyster sauce, some black vinegar, which is something that I've recently been discovering and using more. A bit of our dry rice wine, and some of our soy sauce. It's going to be salty, but all these things should give us good flavor. And I want to do this one first because there's no spicy elements to it. So Tiny Whisk will not be adulterated. Also, so the spoon won't be adulterated. I also want to taste this, so we're gonna get it mostly smooth. Oh my. Oh my, that's so complex. I see you lurking. Oh, that's so complex. That's actually really good. Wow, the black vinegar makes a big difference. It's not overly salty either. I'm a little bit surprised by it. Probably because of the vinegar and the rice wine don't bring any salt into the mix. Interesting. Interesting. I've never tasted something quite like that before. You can really taste the black vinegar, actually. This stuff, we want. It's a much softer thing to begin with. We want 2 big scoops of this. This stuff's got a punch. It's not bright red. Typically, we think of spicy things as being bright red. This is a sort of an unassuming brown color, but don't be fooled. I like the idea of adding a little bit of oyster sauce to this, so we're gonna copy that over, even though I wouldn't do that. I think, and a fruit fly also thinks that this smells delicious. Also a little bit of soy sauce. Also some of our dry rice wine. We need to be sure not to get these two mixed up now. Because they look very similar. I like the black vinegar too. I'm going to add a little bit of black vinegar. Well, I don't know that I'll get them confused because now that I've got it in the mix, I can see droplets of hot oil forming on the top of this thing. There's my spoon. I'm gonna taste this one too. Megs! Welcome in. Oh, that's less spicy than I thought it was going to be. Hi, Mags. This was Fang's special recipe in Sandrock. Interesting. Um, there are a lot of variations of this, so mine will be slightly different. They'll all be slightly different. I'm trying to... We're trying to make a spicy version and a non-spicy version. The non-spicy version is going to have some interesting tricks to it. The non-spicy version is going to be using the garlic-infused oil in place of the fresh garlic of the spicy one. I wonder if I should put the cornstarch right into these sauce mixes. Or if I should put it in with the broth. And I've already decided that I'm going to put it in with the broth. So, fresh. I know, you're supposed to thicken it at the end, but I'm also not really following technique. I spent the past half hour reading all about Unity. Have you heard about Unity? It's falling apart. It's coming apart at the seams. So this is no sodium or no added salt, so low sodium chicken broth, which I'm getting more impressed with. It doesn't taste very good because it has no salt in it. But that means that you can control how much salt goes in much more easily. Harder to when I make because I used to just buy whatever was most available, but after I started making my own, I got to love the no salt added stuff much better. These are identical; they're just different quantities because we're making slightly different quantities of each of these things. So there's no risk of cross-contamination between them. They are the same. But we do need to get the cornstarch not clumping on the bottom and get it nice and hydrating into the mix. Doing these side by side is going to be tricky. On the stove. And we're also making a side dish. Once the stir fries start stir frying, I feel like they're gonna go quick. This isn't like a straight up stir fry, so this actually takes a little bit longer because some of the elements have to kind of stew in the broth. Bookwoman, yes, guests today. Your invitation did get lost. Perhaps we can arrange one in the future. We're also on a different day. Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. And we were going to pressure cook some rice today. So I probably should get that on the go as well. It's going to be the first element that we actually cook, but we need the book because I don't know how to do this fully. because I have not done it before. Rice, white, long grain. 1 part rice to 1 part water, high pressure, 2 minutes. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. So let's get it started. Push stuff aside. Get the pot of the magic pot, which just literally today I scratched. Right there. It's hard to see. I scratched the interior of the thing. With the rack that goes in here, it got crooked and it dug into the side. And I was frustrated. Yes, not including the time it takes to get up to pressure and the time it takes to come down from pressure, because that is also a time to be accounted for. Which is why I'm not just doing this at the last possible second. We might have extra rice, but that will be fine. Extra rice is one of the easiest to use things in the world. So putting in 3 cups of rice, just to ensure that there is enough. Probably too much, but as I just said, no such thing as too much rice, because then you just have leftover rice. We can make a stir fry. We're going to rinse it in the pot the way I did last time, although the pot is much larger, so I have to put quite a bit more water in it. I'm planning on feeding hopefully 4 people. I would typically serve half a cup of rice, but I wanted to overshoot, just to ensure that if anyone went back, I think it's too much. I honestly think it's too much rice. Oop, there's some rice chaff. That's interesting. And something you barely ever see, but that is the original reason. The original reason for washing rice was not so that it doesn't stick together, but it was to ensure that the rice was clean. Because things like chaff and rice hulls, bits of stem, dirt, they'll float off in the water. You think it's going to be a ridiculous amount of rice. I think it's going to be 50% too much rice. But again, there's no such thing as too much rice, because then you just have leftover rice. Really, you should always be making a large quantity of rice. And then having leftover rice. I was just fascinated by the rice chaff. Okay, that should be, no, 3 cups of raw rice. Where's this 9 coming from? 3 cups. Guys, I'm aware that it's a lot of rice. But as I've said several times, there's no such thing as too much rice. It's about 50% more rice than I would cook if I was just going for the minimum. Turn the dealie to seal. Turn the lock to pressure. Pressure on high. 2 minutes. Push the button. It's too late now. We're committed. The thing is locked and pressurizing. Chill out. Okay. Part the next one. Let's get the nylon board. The nylon board, because this is our meat. The pork element of our tofu dish. Yeah, rice pudding. That's a great example of something to do with leftover rice. We could all just go around and name 1,000 things to do with leftover rice. Chill out. Chill out about the rice. Okay, so this was, as a reminder, this is ground pork I got from the, I said chill out. This is ground pork I got from the farmer's market. I don't buy meat from the farmer's market. It was frozen when I got it, so I had to thaw it. I don't want to mush it up a lot, but I need to divide it into 4 approximately even blobs. And then take 3 of those blobs, stick them together, and have the 4th blob be its own blob. There's the blank face. There's the blank face I know and love. Ooh. There's a bowl in the way. I guess I am going to actually have to wash my hands because I'm going to have to touch things that aren't going to immediately be used. I'd rather not wash the entire cabinet because I have to move stuff around with meat hands. I need to be careful. There's a bag of sugar in the sink that I really would rather not get wet. Okay. Meat. Meat. I am prepping. Yes. It's a little bit tedious at this stage because I am just prepping everything that I'm going to end up needing down the line and not really cooking any of it until we get that far. Let's get that bag of sugar out of the sink before I do, in fact, get it wet and ruin my sugar. Okay, the meats can go over by the stove until I need them. The meaty board can go in the sink. And we can bring back the tofu. The bag of sugar was the weight on our tofu for pressing. That's why it was in the sink. I don't know that we lost much moisture. We probably lost a little bit. You give me long enough? Be fine. As before, I'm going to cut this and reserve a chunk. Oh, of course, because I... Okay. Now the tofu is... There's quite a bit of tofu, but the tofu is the main part of the dish. It is Mapo Tofu after all. One of the reasons I like this dish so much, because I do quite like this dish, is that it is using tofu not as a substitute for meat, but as its own thing. And in fact, there is meat in the dish as a flavoring, as a seasoning, functionally. It also tastes quite good when done properly. We will see if I do it properly. Again, divided. There's a little puddle in the... Okay, we got some of it out. There's a little puddle in the sink. Let me double check my reference recipes here. Um, um, okay, okay. We're going to need some scallions as well. It's the same kind of slightly gnarly ones I had last time. Gonna even take a layer off of that. This one. If your green onions ever look a little bit gnarly, like that one did, or there's dirt in between the layers, you can just grab off the kind of gross outer layer and peel it away. Because they tend to go bad from the outside in. So the outermost layer might be gnarly, and underneath that it'll be perfectly good. The fan speed just changed on my pressure cooker, but it still says pre, which stands for pressurizing. But it's probably getting close. Okay, okay, okay. All the white parts of the green onions are going on this side, and along with a share of the dark green parts. The other dark green parts are going to go in this bowl and be separated. Okay. Okay, okay. The meats need to move away from the stove because we're about to get heat on it. Or we're soon to get heat on it. I was going to make a bean dish on the side. So let's, use up some of these, because I gotta use up some of these beans. So we're gonna make some beans on the side. Oop, there's an ad. Okay. Okay. I am going to do these beans the lazy way, where the scissors and go snip, snip. So I think I want to do the beans sweet as a, not like dessert, but like a sweeter preparation of them as a counterpoint to what is supposed to be a spicy, salty main. Jen has resubscribed for the 12th month. And if I am not mistaken, and I very well could be, that is almost one entire year. Well, that sounded like pressure-y things going on over there. Oh my god! Megs has subscribed with Prime! So much hype. Oop, that bean is not worth saving. 3 months with Prime from Mags. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you both so much for the continued, the past, future, and or past, current, and hopefully future support. I really, really, really do appreciate it. That pressure cooker is making some noises. Yeah, Jen, we have some interesting things on the go today. And now it is pressure cooking. We are making Mapo Tofu 2 ways. And we're going to start cooking it real soon. But I wanted to get these beans going because they're going to be a side dish. In part because I feel like I want a side dish, and in part because there's not really a vegetable element to Mapo Tofu. It's mostly beans. It's in fact mostly made of beans because it's made of a lot of tofu, bean pastes, uh, and just a little bit of pork, and lots of hot peppers. Beans with a side of beans. Different beans though. These are like vegetable beans as opposed to the bean flavor pastes and the soybean cubes. Get out a saute pan. Back burner, bit of oil. Back burner, bit of oil. We were going to make a sweet, sort of a sweetish marinade or dressing for these. So I'm going to start with our dark soy sauce, our black soy sauce, which is sweet. Our rice beeped at us. Now we just have to wait for it. Well, if you've been following along, we have a non-spicy version coming together as well. Because no, not everyone is prepared for the spice at full power. Where did I? Oh, it's down here. Well, we're making two versions of it along with a side dish, and the second version is a really, I think, inventive. I didn't invent it, but it's a really inventive sort of way to extract the spice from this dish that is mostly spice. I've washed my hands several times, so I'm going to just give these the old stir around with my hand. I added some smoked paprika. Those guys are going to get started in our back saute pan. We're going to move over to the stove pretty much now. So let's get them in there and going. Put that off my hand. Wash my hand proper. Okay. Because we need to get to the actual cooking part of the cooking. Everything is hitting. Um, okay. Well, one of my guests might not be showing up. Well, we're going to soldier forth anyways because all the ingredients are already on the move. We need quite a bit of oil to start. On this side. Heat on, dry chilies in. We're going to have 2 of these. Okay, so step 1, we are heat on infusing some oil into infusing the chilies here into our oil. Those guys in the back are cooking a lot quicker than I wanted them to. Turn that light off. Okay. Oh, I have one more batch of peppers to cut. Because we have some fresh peppers going in as well. And get the stem ends off. I'm running out of little dishes. This guy. Okay? Okay. Back over to the stove. We are getting those beans on the go. We're infusing the oil to start over here. So in theory, this should be pulling color. Probably because they're a little old. They're not really pulling a lot of color into the oil. I'm worried that we're going to burn them if I leave them in there too long. They need a place to rest as well. Because they are currently smoking, and that's the sign that they got to come out. Oh, that's going to break. I'm worried that's going to break the glass. So I guess we're going to use a bowl that's much too large. Okay, so trying to do these side by side. So some garlic oil in the other one, heat on, some more neutral oil in the first one. And the heat's already on. Give us a swirl. It is quite a bit of oil, and I understand that it's quite a bit of oil. This is a lot of oil in a dish. Step. Oh, there's a spice in the air. These recipes kind of disagree on the order of things. We're going to throw in the ginger and the ginger. This one's not hot yet. Okay, well, since that one's not hot yet, it'll take a sec to get there, which is fine because this one is getting the garlic. Ooh, I'm getting stuck on the end there. This one's getting hot. Pork. Okay. This is the stage when things kind of slow down because it has to cook out the pork now. Okay. Szechuan pepper goes in this one once the pork is reasonably far along. Don't let it burn. Add our flavor juices. I got a new spatula to avoid cross-contaminating. We're gonna throw that one there and that one there. Okay. Now there's enough liquid in these guys. Ooh, I just splashed it around. There's enough liquid in these guys that they can kind of simmer for themselves. We no longer have to really urgently fight with them. This guy gets some peppers. These are the fresh peppers. Oh, our rice depressurized itself. Can't open the lid. You gotta release the lock. Oh, it won't release the lock because there was still a little bit of pressure in there. These are green beans. They need to get off the heat, actually. I'm losing track of them. Okay. Add the tofu and the tofu. Now the firm tofu will help me not mash these into little bits as I do this, but that's the neighbors. Okay. Okay. Loosen up our starchy broth on both sides. Get them in there, and then I just have to thicken. And all they need to do is thicken up. That guy's supposed to be a little bit hotter than that. Yeah. So we are just about on point. Get the temperatures turned up on both sides. And drain out our oil, our pepper oil, into the mix. Now it says dump those guys right in there, but I want to crush them up a little bit before I put them in the final dish, because I did chop them a little bit rough. So we're gonna just sort of mash them up in the mortar here. And maybe add not all of them. Because I also think they might have gotten a tiny bit toasty. Okay. Okay, we're over here. Put a few odds and ends away. This is a little more liquidy than I was hoping for, probably because it's quite large. So we'll have to cook that down for a couple of minutes. See how much rice we ended up with. Since this guy needs to cook down, we have a minute to take a peek at the giant rice. Which looks pretty good to me. Yeah. Okay. I wish this was a more of a red, but we didn't have any like bright red dyes going into it. So I guess it's just not gonna be. I think we are ready to serve. I'm gonna make up an example plate to take photos of. But otherwise, so it hasn't thickened quite as much as I thought it was going to. So I'm probably going to add just a dash more of our cornstarch. And that'll thicken it within a few minutes. The other one is looking better. More how I was thinking it. No, you gotta hydrate it. I almost just threw it in there as a not hydrated cornstarch as a shortcut, but no, you always hydrate it. Or you'll end up with little disgusting clumps. So, cornstarch water goes in. Okay. Stirred around. We are sticking to the bottom a little bit, but that should thicken us up. We're not sticking. We're sticking. It's the same walk. Well, I think it's done. So, oops, that's the wrong angle. Pop over there, heat off, heat off. I'm gonna make, as I said, an example plate for the photos, but otherwise, I think I'm ready to serve. And we're only 10-ish minutes past my target, so that's not too bad. Okay. The example plate is going to be from the spicy one. Okay. And you do need quite a bit of rice for this dish on account of how spicy it is. I didn't. Yeah. So, take a quick snap of that, and then I will sign us off. Oop, wake up, camera. Okay. Let me give it a taster, and then rate us out so that the guests can stop hiding from me in the front. So I'll get a little bit of everything in there, and oh, it's hot. Oh, okay. First of all, it's very spicy. The rice did cook well. It's very spicy. It's got that. The first thing that hit me actually was the Szechuan pepper. That sort of electric twinge, followed by the actual hotness of the pepper. I don't know. I wonder if I didn't. It strikes me as slightly less savory than I think I was expecting it to be. I don't think we burned those peppers. They're very dark, but I'm not getting the little acrid notes as if they were burned. So I think we managed to get those guys off the heat in time. I will have to ask others. It's supposed to be very spicy, so it is very spicy. But it's supposed to be very spicy, and the Szechuan pepper helps balance that out. Yeah. Here. One last thing. Let me do a taster of the green bean, which I definitely overcooked. I got a beding. What was that? What was that bing bong? I don't know. Those beans, I just kind of threw them together, and I'm not unimpressed. So, I think we're done. Now, I'm neglecting people in the front, so let me rate us off real fast. I'm not even going to wait for the countdown. I'm going to rate us off real fast. I'm going to have to rate and run. We're going to deposit at our old friend LaFay. And I will see you guys next time on the old channel here, 3, 2, 1, right.